Hello, Telvantis shareholders. I'm Andrew Insight, your AI host for Telvantis. Today, we feature an interview between Maria Tonberg and CFO Daniel Gilcher. From LA to Frankfurt, they discuss key questions and insights for shareholders.
Hey, Daniel, and thank you so much for sitting down with us today. Shareholders have been eager for more insight into Telvantis, and this education series is a great opportunity to provide that clarity. To start, why is the company taking this approach?
Yeah, thanks, Maria, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak really directly to our investors. We recognize that Telvantis operates in a fairly complex industry, and while we've shared a lot through press releases and filings over the last couple of months, we want to really go deeper here a little bit today and over the next coming weeks. Many investors might not have yet fully understood how we actually generate revenues and profits, might not have understood yet fully what makes our business model and what makes it unique, and why we believe that we are actually well positioned for future growth. So in this three-part series that we've set up with you, we want to provide a very clear roadmap to our shareholders so that they can actually see how our business works in detail and where we're headed. The first part, which we will be discussing today, is really focused on our technology, our business model, our market position, and is the foundation of what we do. The second part will cover the financial growth strategy, the expansion plans a little bit, and the revenue generation. And part three will focus on how we intend to generate shareholder value, what we might be doing with potential uplisting plans, as well as strategic initiatives to enhance the liquidity of the stock and the long-term success of our company. At the end of this series, it's really our goal that our investors have a strong, fact-based understanding of Telvantis and what we do, and where we are on our way to building a billion-dollar company, hopefully.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for explaining that. So let's dive into the fundamentals. What exactly does Telvantis do, and how does it make money?
Yes, so Telvantis is a global and technology-driven, technology-enabled communications provider. At its core, our business evolves around two main verticals. One is messaging and enterprise messaging services, and the other one is a voice business where we intersect with a global network of carriers. Think about it this way. Okay, every time you receive a fraud alert from your bank on your phone, a two-factor authentication code from a website, or a flight delay notification from an airline, Telvantis is involved in making that happen in some shape or form. Yeah. So how do we generate revenue? We either collect and facilitate messaging traffic from enterprises, or we sit between global network operators and facilitate voice communication. These are the two main things. We operate our unique and our very own cloud communications platform, and offer additional value-added services to our customers in various ways, always on a B2B level. So we do not interact with the end customers, but we sit between the operators or the enterprises to provide our services.
Interesting. So the telecommunications and messaging industry is incredibly competitive. What sets Telvantis apart?
Yeah, Maria, it's a great question, and the industry is indeed very, very competitive. So maybe taking a short step back, let's establish and let's understand that it's a growing and very stable industry. Okay, we deal with a very basic human need, communication. People need to speak to each other. People need to interact with each other. Need to interact with enterprises. Need to interact with brands. Need to interact with companies for various services that they get. And this is not going anywhere, okay? And so if you're thinking about a world in 10 years, is it likely that people will speak to each other? Yes. Is it likely that they will use their phone in some shape or form to receive information? Absolutely, yes. So as a backdrop, we operate in a very stable and strong industry. Where do we stand out? We have a very scalable, reliable, and established platform. So we've been doing this for many, many years. And we handle millions, literally millions of minutes, millions of messages and calls every day. So it's very scalable, it's very robust. That's point number one. Point number two is we have long-standing commercial relationships with our customers. And that's really a little bit of the secret sauce in our industry. Having the rapport, having the trust of these commercial partners is nothing that you can reproduce overnight. It takes many years to build, and we have eventually we have the right team and the right individuals in those teams that have those relationships to stay relevant with our customers and make sure that we provide them the services that they need. Lastly, of course, because a minute is a minute and a message is oftentimes a message. This business is also about cost efficiency. And with our own platforms that we use, with our proprietary software that we are using, especially in the messaging domain, we are able to really operate at the edge of cost efficiency. That is, if you don't have to buy those services from someone else, you can do that at better margins than your competitor.
Thank you for explaining that. It seems that you have built relationships with customers and built that trust that makes you stand out, because that's so important to have that brand and agency with your clients. Speaking of market growth, can you give shareholders some insight into the size and potential of this industry?
Yes, of course. So as I said, we are dealing with a very basic human need, communication, and that's really an industry that is going to last. Of course, it's always changing technologically. New technology is coming up, new ways of communication are being established, and that industry is very dynamic. But overall, it is really a growing industry where those players that have a valuable and valid value proposition are able to grow their market share, are able to grow their market. And it's absolutely a good market to be in from our perspective. Now, a little bit about numbers. The enterprise messaging service is approximately $46 billion a year, and the overall number of 5G connections worldwide are expected to scratch the 8 billion mark in only 3 years from now. So that means communications and fast, reliable, scalable communication will remain in demand. We see this as a really a massive opportunity, especially given that we provide a very cost-effective solution for our partners. So it's an absolutely large and vast market, and the demand for our services is huge.
Investors often ask about Telvantis' transition year in 2024. Can you explain what that means?
Yes, of course. And 2024 was indeed a transition year for us, mainly because we integrated two fairly sizable transactions and acquisitions of our US operations from the year prior. as well as the reverse merger into the Telvantis, or back then Radar, company in the US. So there was quite a lot of heavy lifting that took a little bit more effort than we originally anticipated. And really the key aspects of this transitions include strengthening our financial position and our financial operations. So we had to refinance a very substantial part of our working capital facility. We also were expanding our carrier relationships. So we extended the amount of interconnections. And we also put a lot of effort on optimizing internal processes, reducing costs to ensure future scalability is not only supporting the growth, but is also supporting growth in a profitable way. And so we really think this transition sets us up for long-term growth and profitable long-term growth, and it positions us for future value generation, of course, for our shareholders, and hopefully also a possible national market uplisting sometime later too.
So let's talk about upcoming milestones. What can investors expect in the near future?
So we have several key initiatives underway. First, strategic financial initiatives. So we are exploring various ways of optimizing our capital structure, and that would include potential share buybacks and other means, as we've disclosed previously. Another dimension is certainly a growth expansion, expanding our existing service offerings and continuing to grow our global telco footprint. That could be either organically or through the means of acquisitions. And there are certainly also potential plans for an uplisting, and we are putting the building blocks in place to support something like that in the future too. There is also, of course, the point lastly of shareholder communication, and we think this education series here is really just the beginning. We plan to provide to the market regular updates, run Q&A sessions, and of course, with the ultimate goal of increasing and maintaining investor transparency, so that our investors understand what we do, how we do it, and what we're doing to get things right.
So before we wrap up, what's the one thing that you want shareholders to take away from today's discussion?
Maria, I think the most important and simple point is that we, as a management team, have absolute confidence in our business. We're strong believers, and we work very hard every day to pursue and deliver on our goals. We are a real company. We are generating tremendous revenues. We are operating in a stable and growing multi-billion-dollar industry, and we have a clear plan and strategy for long-term success. So these are the three things. And I would really encourage every investor to stay informed, read our upcoming press releases, engage with us through our official channels, and we truly appreciate the support of our shareholders, and we're committed to building a value for them in the long term.
Well, thank you so much, Daniel. This has been so incredibly informative, and I know our investors will appreciate the transparency. I look forward to continuing this series in our next installment.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel, and have a wonderful time in Germany. Bye from LA.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. For For more on Telvantis, visit www.telvantis.com. See you at our next update.